AYuTe was set up to address the gap in financing of innovation around technology, specifically in agriculture in Africa. It was also designed to create a pulling force that will bring young people into the sector. We realized that there was a convergence between the future of work in the continent, feeding the continent and creating jobs for youth. And the only way to unlock that opportunity is to find ways to catalyze investment into that segment. We've seen that with Heifer as one of the first movers to really think about catalytic funding that will bridge the gap between commercial lending and grants. We've unlocked opportunities not just for young people, but also for investors who had actually struggled to understand how to define the risk in the sector.
As you can see, you will see the drone spraying on the field, helping them to apply their crop protection product. We can spray 1 hectare of land in 5 to 10 minutes.
Female founders and allies that use a mobile application with a monthly recurring revenue of $7,000. At FX currently, we have under our belt 500,000 farmers, and we have transacted 2 million metric tons of commodities.
And since 2018, we have reached 140,000 farmers across 10 states. For us, to analyze 1 hectare, it costs 2,500 naira as opposed to 50,000 naira for this piece.
Our proprietary model learns from the daily farm records that the farmer keeps and is able to alert the farmer when there's anything wrong on his farm and then connect them to a nearby veterinary doctor or veterinary clinic that could help them prevent this outbreak on their farm.
Whenever we drive marketing for our crowdfunding, every dollar spent, we get $168 in return to invest in smallholder farmers. Through our platform, we've been able to raise $500,000, and we are the only licensed investment crowdfunding platform on the continent by a regulatory body.
Through the prepaid and debit card, as the farmers receive their payments in quick time, they are able to build their financial footprint, which allows them to access financially inclusive services.
We provide farmer groups with inputs on credit, and then they pay back with produce. So in the last 5 years, we've been able to trade over 13,000 tons.
We are an energy company when we are setting it up. When you're operating the hubs, we are a fish business company. So there's a social part, but we also want to be profitable.
Basically, we are producing climate resilient seedlings by use of tech. 238 million people in Africa are facing acute food insecurity.
We add biologicals to our organic fertilizer to make it work better. We are dedicated to empowering farmers and creating youth and women employment. I will show you how we do that.
By the end of the year, we'll have broken even. But right now, I think we still have a runway of 18 months without any other injection.
We are seeing AI as a potential play because we have collected first 7 years of agronomy data using FarmShield, and it's all proprietary. So we know tomato patterns, we know cucumber patterns, we know capsicum patterns really well.
We believe we will be able to raise more money from carbon, because for carbon at the moment, this project is for Kenya, Uganda.
You can order the feeds and pay, get the STK push, select nearest location point, and the clerk who is there receives the notification.
Already presenting you on innovation on using alternative data to give credit to rural farmers.
They don't have product that fits to the smallholder need. If you look at the requirement, whether you take $10 million or $100 million, the requirements are the same.
By aggregating demand and supply, we've been able to create some impact, increasing farmers' income by 60%, which increases their farm size by up to 5 acres.
We have innovated around input financing, where we finance at 3 to 6% interest tied to crop cycle.
The technical assessment itself was very rigorous, but the innovators really showed up, really putting their effort in pitching and just answering some of the questions that came up.
The moment I walked in and saw so many of them, I had expected maybe like 5, but I walked into a room full of people. Of course, I got confused, I got anxious. I shook through my slides, some of them, but it's expected because we do these things, we do pitch, but every pitch sort of feels different. So the anxiety was okay.
The pressure was really felt, but I think the judges are quite amazing. I think I gave my best.
20 minutes of pitch and I think 40 minutes of Q&A. That's probably one of the longest part in recent times. I think the exciting part of it is I was speaking to people who indeed are focused on the agricultural sector.
I mean, the first instance felt like Shark Tank, but after I started presenting, the judges were very friendly and my nerves were calmed down. And I think I delivered exactly what our solution was. They appeared convinced. I hope they actually are.
After the innovator has given a speech and leaves the room, it's like the energy is amazing because we've got all sorts of different expertise and different experiences, and all the judges are looking at the innovators in a different lens. And in fact, one judge may have one view, but when they hear the other judge speak, they're like, oh, that's right. It adds another depth and dimension. And I think that's critical because it helps us evaluate the entire kind of circumference of that innovator to be able to give them an adequate and a realistic scoring.
It was like a mini strategy session where we had great feedback from amazing and experienced set of judges who thoroughly understood the ecosystem in which we play in, and I believe the greatest opportunity are the relationships that we get to build from the experienced people in the room.
There was a lot of questions and feedback. It made me appreciate them even more because I feel like they were listening to my story and they were really keenly interested in learning more about my company.
They challenged us to think wide and broad about our solutions, even like in the future. So it was like a reflective moment for us to just look at how healthy is our organization and what things can we do better.
Some of the assumptions we are making when building our business, when you get an expert asking certain questions, it helps you go back and say, am I thinking through that really? So I think those validation questions were also good for us and will help us build as we think forward.
I was able to learn from their insights. The feedback also was great, and we're going to be working on this feedback. I mean, at the end of the day, we can be able to have a profitable business that also provides a good solution and impact on the lives and livelihood of smallholder farmers.
As an entrepreneur, I've pitched so many times, and so for me, I think like I'm going to present to people who don't know much about my business, so I'm just going to tell them about my business. So it's not more like a pitch; it's more like representing Kilimo Fresh and sharing our journey, representing Tanzania.
I see a big preparation. I like intentionality. I like always when organizations do something with a great preparation. So I see how a team is composed of different experts to make this worthwhile and purposeful.
It was a very wholesome and overall big learning experience for all the parties involved, the innovators, the judges, as well as ourselves as Heifer, because we got to hear different nuanced opinions and different variations of how to solve for different challenges that came up as the different innovators were pitching.
One of the things that I found very inspiring is that almost all the businesses that we saw at the technical assessment were set up after 2020. Think about it. These are businesses that are cutting across different kinds of solutions, from soil testing to drone technology to accessing markets and finance with innovative technology platforms. They have grown their businesses. Collectively, I believe, are reaching close to 1 million smallholder farmers, but all these businesses set up after 2020. I just begin to reflect on our journey as Heifer. But I think that all of this would not be possible if there was not the opportunity for different organizations to provide grants, to provide, innovative financing instruments to support and encourage these great ideas to go in and address the challenges in agriculture. They are transforming the face of Africa's agriculture. And we're not in 2030 yet, but we are already seeing the seeds of what the future of Africa's agriculture will look like. And it's really been very exciting.